Fellow officers, family, and friends are mourning the death of Officer David Rose, who died protecting his community when he responded to that active shooter call. Atlanta News First reporter Maria Moreau is live this morning at the DeKalb County Police Headquarters, where Officer Rose was a new member of the department, but he certainly made a mark.
Megan, it's a somber Sunday here at DeKalb County Police Headquarters. Just behind me, flags flying at half-staff, an unspoken but loud reminder and tribute to an officer who did so much. David Rose had been with the DeKalb County Police Department just shy of a year and already had a profound impact. He was Atlanta through and through, going to high school just 20 minutes from where I'm standing at Peachtree Ridge High. He graduated from the police academy 5 months ago in March, and I wanted to share some of his own words that described how he viewed the job.
Policing isn't just about enforcing the law. It's about protecting the vulnerable, standing for justice, and being the person who runs towards danger when others run away. We learned that the badge we will wear isn't just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of trust, of duty, of sacrifice. It represents not just us, but every officer who came before us and every officer that will come after us.
Now back here at police headquarters, I just want to talk about Officer Rose for a moment. He was a devoted husband, a father of two, with another on the way. Funeral arrangements have not been released yet, but as soon as we find out, we will let you know on air and online. Live at DeKalb County Police Headquarters, Maria Moreau, Atlanta News First.
Hearing from him in his own words. Maria, thank you. Many lawmakers and police leaders around the metro have been sharing their condolences, offering words of comfort to Officer Rose's family and the police department, including Representative Austin Scott, who writes in part, "Thank you to all of our first responders for your service to our community."